Good evening, Americans, fellow patriots, and anyone around the world who loves freedom or loves Jesus and freedom. Here we are. We're approaching, I think, pretty much day 100 of the Trump administration. Pretty sure it is. I mean, let's see, January 20th to April 30th. It could be May 1st or May 2nd. Forgot there is 28 days in February. One extra day in January and March. All right, today's 100 days, I think. Give or take a day. But a lot of things are going as planned as I thought. Especially when it comes to the military economy. And the reason why they're so trying to get Mark Hegseth down there, because he is doing a great job. And the reason why they hate Tom Homan, because he is a man of his word. He's a warrior.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto Connecticut 55 West.
They should be scared of him, because he means business. Trump got the right man there. And as far as the economy goes, yeah, I mean, it may take about half a year more.
Take the next left onto Connecticut 55 West.
To get the results we want, but right now, report is a lot of cargo ships from China are coming in empty because of the tariffs.
Continue for 5 miles.
So we may hit a shortage of a lot of stuff here for a while. And whether they want to admit it or not, China's factories are closing shop because of it. Now, until these trade deals go through the other countries and China, we may struggle. The other thing that has to go through are these tax cuts. I'm going to reiterate that because there has to be an offset somewhere. And you better get these tax cuts through. Otherwise, as I said, the Biden recession, yes, it was a Joe Biden recession, will become the Trump depression. Now, some things are just making me scratch my head. First of all, I was a big proponent of RFK Jr. for what he's doing. I have a lot of disagreements with RFK on a lot of things. I mean, don't forget he's a Kennedy and he's a liberal on a lot of things, but when it comes to foods and vaccine, he's always been right. But the other day he said we're getting rid of a lot of these food dyes. Awesome. Bad news is, he's giving them 2 years to do it. And I'm thinking, why are we giving them 2 years to do this? It's not like they're going to have to, I wouldn't think, restructure the manufacturing plans to get rid of these food dyes, because overseas, everywhere else, a lot of these food dyes are banned. So why are we waiting 2 years to get food dyes out of our products? Now you may say, well, we've been had it for decades, what's 2 more years? Well, your health for one thing. I mean, let's face it. Why are young kids having so many allergies these days? Peanut allergies, tree allergies, this allergy, that allergy, allergic to this, allergic to that. Autism is skyrocketing. And I'm sorry, it doesn't have just to do with the vaccines, it has to do with our food also. And who knows what they're doing to our water. But why are we waiting 2 years? That should have been done immediately, ASAP. And the other thing I've been critical of Trump on is, well, a few things. His hiring of Kash Patel. And Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi was a Bushie under Jeb Bush as the Florida Attorney General. Kash Patel has talked an awesome game and hasn't delivered. And after the supposedly murder, I'm going to call it murder, of Virginia Guthrie, I am blaming this one on Kash Patel. Because Kash Patel said day one, when he becomes department head, We're releasing the Epstein files. Well, where are they, Cash? You said you're going to make the FBI headquarters a museum. Really? When is that happening, Cash? Now, you've gone out there, you've done enough camera interviews to make yourself look good and talk a good game, but I'm sorry the results aren't there. Between you and Pam Bondi, you've only arrested a handful of people, and at the rate we're going, if everyone else did the right thing, we won't see the results of this for about the year 2100. We're all long and gone. I'm sorry the results aren't there right now. And after the death of Virginia Guthrie the other day, I'm calling it death because there's no way she was suicided. No, she was suicided. No way she committed suicide. I'm blaming it on them because they haven't released the Epstein files yet. And there was someone else who came out the other day. I can't remember the name. He says, I am totally fine. I'm not suicidal. But if I am, another person who was a victim of Epstein and Bill Clinton, if you find me dead, it wasn't because I was suicidal. And how many people are getting killed right now because they're dragging their feet with the Epstein files? The fact that Kash Patel was endorsed by General Flynn, and I was a big proponent of General Flynn for a while, but things just aren't adding up with me. How can he know so much of this and still be alive when Seth Rich, who knew way less, was killed? Are the bad guys doing their own psyops? I think you gotta assume they are, dude. John Bonnier says things are going behind the scenes you know about. Yeah, I get it, but you know what? We want results. You had someone that resigned the other day from the FBI for selling secrets to the Chinese, to China, and he just resigned. No, that guy should have been perked walk on national TV and should be awaiting the guillotine for it.
In a quarter mile, turn left to stay on State Route 55
Don't get me
west.
wrong, a lot has happened in 100 days, but a lot more was promised, and it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I am going to be critical of Trump. I like Trump. But right now, I don't know I am disappointed with things. I'm not going to lie.
Turn left to stay on State Route 55 west.
And the other thing I think he's very naive on, or there's a really disconnect, is with the whole taking one for the team.
Continue on State Route 55 west for half a mile.
John Rich came out actually, country music say John Rich talked to President Trump, and Donald Trump asked him a question: why do people boo me when it comes to...
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Pleasant Ridge Road.
I can't say the name because they'll probably throw me off of YouTube again. And John Rich told the president flat out, why would we trust the CDC, the FDA, and the NIH when they've done
Turn right onto Pleasant
nothing
Ridge Road.
but harm people? Why would we trust the same people that have failed us over and over
Continue
again?
on Pleasant Ridge Road for 7 miles.
Why would we take something that has hurt a lot of people? And right now, it looks like it has hurt 2.2 billion people in the world. And I think it's about 7.5 billion people. You're talking about almost about 1/4 of the population that we know about. We've also had people who lost their lives because of it. So you could be talking about almost 1/3 of the population that has been affected, that we know of. And he told Trump, we don't trust these people. We don't trust these agencies. This is what they've done. This is what's going on. And Trump turned around And I guess he said Lindsey Graham turned around and said, "You're the reason why." And John Rich said he stopped him right there. Says, "You just shut your mouth. How dare you?" And he went on to Trump about what people think about the vaccine. To which he said, John Rich said, Trump turned around and says, "Well, ain't this something? Why didn't anyone tell me about this?" That goes to show you there's a lot of people in Trump's administration that are doing a fake support of Trump, that are double agents, triple agents, that are not letting Trump know what's going on. And I'm telling you, this is the one issue. This is the one issue. Not so much how he handled Charlie 19er. But taking one for the team itself is going to come back to bite him if you don't keep this man in prayer. This may be a humbling experience for Trump. He's already been humbled a couple of times. But this may bring him down on his knees. I mean, he's got you probably won't know the reason for Operation Superfast. I'll call it that. Because I don't want to be knocked off YouTube. But you know what I mean. And they said there'd be about 3 to 5 year window when this so-called takes effect. Well, it came out in 2021. I want to say March of 2021. So 3 years would be 24, 5 years would be 26. Listen, there's a lot of people who are getting sick from this slowly, some suddenly, and some just going. And the one mistake John Rich says, you need to stop talking about. No, I think you need to do the opposite. I think you need to go out there and tell the public you got a lot of bad information, Mr. Trump. And people who I trusted have betrayed me. And I think you need to repent. Now listen, no doubt in my mind, you got a lot of bad information, Mr. President, on that subject. And they have shielded you from being able to listen to anyone who has better information. They made sure of that. In fact, I mean, between those people and the so-called pastoral team of Donald Trump who need to go because they're a bunch of clairvoyant satanic witches led by Paula White. Mr. President, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your protection, but I can only go by what I've seen and what I know. And I'm going to assume I don't know everything. No one does. But this one subject is going to kill you. People like me and other conservatives out there have been telling you, stop with the jab. That's why we're booing you. And the very people on the left say, well, Donald Trump's gonna take it. Yeah, you took the worst piece of advice from Donald Trump, and that's the one you listen to. But yet you have the nerve to call people like me a member of a cult. But yet you idiots are the ones taking it. The one piece of advice you listened to from him that you shouldn't have, you did. You know why? Because Joe Biden says it's okay. And he was the one that tried to mandate it. Now, interesting to know that this stuff, the type of shots, we'll call it gene therapy, has been used for decades in animals. How do you think they started using them on us? They've been using them on the animals for decades. And I'm sorry, the reason why I don't own a pet no more, even though I love animals, I love dogs, I love cats. But there's a lot of crap in these vaccines that are killing these dogs, that are causing all kinds of diseases, and a lot of veterinarians are making a lot of money because of what these things are causing. Dogs and cats used to live a lot longer, dude. I'll give you an example. I had every dog I owned didn't really live that long. And they had all their shots and vaccinations. And of course, if you go to a vet, they won't touch a dog unless they're vaccinated. Rabies, whatever. You can't even get your dog groomed privately, or their nails cut, unless they have a old doggy vaccine. So they put you to a corner, and when these animals get sick and they need emergency surgeries, because people have an emotional attachment to their pets. I can't blame them.
New text message.
People spend a ridiculous amount of money on them, only to see them die maybe months later anyway. I know a friend of mine had to shit out almost $4,000 for a little pup. $4,000. I mean, that's more than the car I bought to do my rideshare stuff with. Now, dog is fine. My goodness, $4,000 for a tiny little dog. And I didn't know this either, but the rabies shot you give a Chihuahua is the same thing you give for a Great Dane, which does not make any sense to me. But none of my dogs, whether it was a pure breed or mutt usually live longer. They don't last long. Same even cats, they don't last that long. Now, I had 4 cats my whole life. 2 who had their stuff. The other ones who, they weren't at all. And the 2 that didn't have any of the so-called vaccines lived way longer, B. They lived way longer, and I fed them better food. The stuff you feed these animals from the store is crap. It's garbage. It's poison. I had a tomcat who was vaccinated. I think he lived about 12, 13 years. I had another one that wasn't. 19 years. I had a Bombay Siamese cat who had most of the shots, not all of them. But you know what? She lived to 16 years old. And I had a pure Siamese cat who had nothing, and she lived almost 23. And thank goodness, when the 2 that weren't vaccinated they died across the Rainbow Bridge. They went fast. To which I was thankful, because 1, you fall in that trap of spending hundreds and thousands on something that's not going to help. And 2, because they were going fast, and you saw there was no hope, the decision was made easier for me. And
in a quarter mile, turn left onto Clove Valley Road.
The good thing is, you don't need rabies shots or any shots to put an animal down. That makes no sense. So from that aspect,
take the next left onto Clove Valley Road.
I was lucky. So on top of the food dyes,
Continue for 5 miles.
giving them a 2-year thing to get rid of them, and the amount of chemical trails we'll see in the sky, especially down in the southeast over the state of Florida, where a lot of people who share my beliefs have moved down to. And you know they want to get them sick and say, see, these are the people that moved away from the blue states, moved down here because they want to take the shot, and they all died. That narrative is coming. You just wait. Same thing in Texas right now. You can ask yourself, why are we taking so long to get rid of these chemtrails? Why are we taking control of these weather machines? And I notice a lot of people have been sick this year. Up here, doesn't matter whether you're young or old. You took the jab or you didn't take the jab. We've seen people get sick with all kinds of respiratory stuff this year. Stuff that lingers, they call it, we call it post-COVID. Translation, you don't know what it is. Or 2, you're saying you don't want to say how you guys screwed up. And that this is not working. Now, even if you didn't take it like I do, there's a thing of shedding. Now, from what I looked up at shedding, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, they say it's very rare. But my goodness, if enough people have taken, and they say 70% of the world has taken it, was it enough to affect the other people who didn't take it like myself? All I know is I had a cough this year for almost 3 months. Wouldn't go away. Finally went away. I had a 6-week break and boom, it came back for another 2 weeks. Actually, 10 days. Meanwhile, over in Europe, not being talked about, blackouts galore. Spain, France, rolling blackouts. So I guess all this green energy is working just great. Totally hidden from the media. Your comments down below. What's your opinion? Like to know. Keep the country in prayer. Keep Trump and Vance in prayer. Listen, I'm a big fan of Trump. I'm thankful for Trump, but because the amount of corruption there is everywhere, there's a lot of people he's trusting that really know better. And by the way, Kristi Noem, who was a great governor of South Dakota, who has a prosperous state, who kept the state open during the old Charlie 19, refused to lock it down. She's a good governor. But I'm telling you, as head of HHS, I'm not impressed. I mean, the only thing I think she's concerned about is being a wannabe model. I mean, she is beautiful, looking good in front of the camera. And I'm sorry, if I'm looking at her right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite getting my boots if I'm a criminal. And she had a purse stolen. I'm sorry, but she might have been a good governor. But for what we're doing now, I'm sorry, you need a military type mindset in there. Like because we are at war. We're at war against spirits and principalities right now, as the Bible would say. And you need to defeat these scumbags. Anyway, God bless you all. We'll talk to you later.